Yesterday we took the day to go for the first time in, I think it's 10 weeks. We took a drive out to visit with my dad in Lancaster, and we sat with him, of course, following all the precautions. By the way, my name is Pastor Lou Kilgore. I'm the pastor at the High Mountain Presbyterian Church. If you've stumbled upon this broadcast, this chat, welcome. Glad to have you here. I'm here usually most days, most weekdays at 2 o'clock. Just kind of cracking open life and saying, how are you? How are we? I started doing this as a part of a special outreach to overcome distancing in every way we can, which has been my mission ever since we've entered into this kind of crazy time in which we live. And I have all of the craziness of our time in sight today. I don't know, somehow it just occurred to me that it might be nice for me to talk with you. So I usually have this chair here. I try to imagine you sitting in a chair. I would offer you a cup of tea for the afternoon, and we would see what happens in terms of our conversation with each other. How are you? How are you doing? I mean, there are a lot of things going on in the world today. Most of them, in my view, and this is what I kind of felt like talking about today, most of them, in my view, are things that are just begging for us to get angry. And I'm not judging. Last week in one of the videos I said that my dad had always said that feelings, you shouldn't pass judgment on your feelings, you should be aware of them. They just are. Feelings are not right or wrong. Feelings mostly just need to be identified. And what I'm identifying is that in people that I have never really run into it with them before, their lead emotion is anger. They're angry. They're angry about, I almost hate to do it because, I have friends who are so angry. I don't want anybody to talk about COVID-19 anymore, and it comes with an angry package. It's like a howler in the Harry Potter series. The owl drops the ah! Every message you get from people today is a howler. Everybody's howling at everybody else. And I'm going to say it again. I'm not offering any judgment at all. I'm just saying it's a fact. And I can tell you that part of where I'm at right now, how I am, is that I've been a person that's, I've been pretty free with my feelings, and especially if I'm upset about something, to be able to say it out, and somehow it feels good. It's a clarifying event for me to know. And so if people around me can put up with it, you'll hear what I have to say. And sometimes it comes in a package that, I'm forceful. I'm a preacher. Sometimes can come in a package that's a little too loud to take or a little too intense. But I'm not used to it being all around me like this. So I was remembering years ago, I was the pastor in a town that had a natural disaster. We had a flood. And it was a level 5 disaster, which meant whole sections of the town, I think about a quarter of a square mile, the town was destroyed. Buildings were moved off their foundation, and people lost all their pictures, everything. So the part of the town that was higher, those of us lived up on some higher ground near the church in that town, we offered shelter and space, and we did some things to help out with the people that were in the lower part of the town. And my daughters were friends with some of the people who lived and had lost their houses, and they were trying to reorganize. And so one of the friends of my daughter asked if we could take care of their dog for them for a while. And it was a dachshund. It was a little hot dog dog. And okay, we had two dogs, big dogs of our own, but yes, I mean, we didn't lose our house, so we said yes. And then, so my daughters were thrilled. They had this little dog to take care of, and it's a big story, and I'll tell you the whole story sometime if you want to hear it. But the point is, we had the dog. The dog got loose in the chaos and ran away. Here we were, entrusted with these people's little dog, and it was gone. And the police and the National Guard, everybody got involved in the search for Princess. The dog's name was Princess. And it galvanized the community. We were all devastated. And somehow, if we could find this dog and get this dog back to my little daughter who was crying, everybody would feel like we did something great. So we chased that dog through that town. The police stopped all the traffic so it wouldn't get run over. Oh my goodness, it was an epic event. The hunt for Princess. 101.5, which was the talk radio at the time, got a call from somebody who said, "You wouldn't believe this, but in this town, the entire town's come to a stop, and all the people are chasing this one dog." And poor little Princess, she had foam coming out the side of her mouth as cops and citizens and everybody, they were chasing her, and she was on her way somewhere. She eluded everybody. Nobody could catch this little dog. And she broke loose and went down into the flooded out area. It was closed. The National Guard was not letting anybody go in there to prevent looting and all the rest of it. And there she went, whoosh, right down into the worst section. And so a police car pulled up and put me and my daughter in, and then we went past and we went down to sort of carefully drive through the debris, picking our way and looking for Princess. We got out of the car and we called for her, and then we heard over the radio that one of the National Guard had seen her, and now she was in a location and they felt like we could catch her. She's a sweet little dog. But, I almost burst into tears when, of course, I realized where we were headed to. Princess had run home. She had gone back to her house. It was a long way from where she was being kept, but somehow she knew. She made her way home. And she was around the back of the house in a residential neighborhood. Old clapboard houses. And there she was. My daughter and I came up around the corner, and she was just huddled in the corner on the deck in the back of the house. It was her house. It was her home. Princess had gone home. So my daughter decided that she was going to just go up and pick her up, and oh my goodness, Princess was not the little Princess we knew. She showed a face like a rabid wolf, teeth baring, noises coming out of this little dachshund I didn't know she could even make. And the message was, I am cornered here. I'm at my home. I've reached the last boundary from which I will retreat. And if you come near me at this point, I will rip your hand off. It was incredible. It was amazing. So the police officer grabbed my daughter and said, "Don't approach her." A cornered dog, as frightened as she is, she was still she could hardly breathe and her heart was pounding. She had been through hell. All she knew was the comfort of this corner, and she was not in the mood to trust anybody or do anything at this point. And she was in attack mode. So the police officer said, let's just chill. Let's just stay here for a minute. And they called animal control, who came with one of those loops on the long pole. And they said, we think if we can restrain her so that we can get close to her, maybe she'll calm down and then you could hold her. Well, they got the loop on her head. She almost bit through the airline cable. She was just beside herself. And they did accomplish to get her under control. And then my daughter very bravely kind of went up behind her and just stroked her back. You could hear her exhale. And maybe the smell too, the familiar smell of my daughter who'd been caring for her for 2 days. She relaxed. The animal control officer said, I think you're good. Took the restraining collar off. Little Princess climbed up into my daughter's arms. She was safe. Here's my applying of that story today. There's an awful lot of people that are retreating into a lot of corners today. Chaos of the day, the uncertainty of life, the uncertainty of who's your friend and who's not, has people in corners. I always tell my children, referring back to that day when Princess showed her other side, that I think that the most vicious creature on earth is a human being when they're cornered. When a human being is cornered and feels no way out, there is a viciousness that comes out from us. And I would invite you to apply that thought across the whole wide spectrum. The positions and arguments and the unloading. To wonder, are we not somehow, all of us, in one way or another, feeling cornered? Not knowing who to trust about anything. And there is some viciousness that is coming out. There is some hardness that is emerging from us. I understand it. I did so in Princess's case. I was very grateful for the skill of that animal control officer who loved Princess. A different kind of response could have ended with Princess dead. She could have attacked us. I don't know. It's something to think about. It's what I'm thinking about today. And I'm not just thinking about it in terms of others, too. I'm watching my own reactions. There are times when people come with conversations that make me feel like it's time for me to run and find my home. It's time for me to get in my corner, get ready to defend myself. And then there's an observation of how many people feel that's their only option right now. Get your defenses out and get ready to, unleash hell. I love that moment where Princess found care and compassion and the drama was de-escalated. De-escalation. Bringing it down. All of it. Bring it down. And then we can talk about the really important things that we need to learn from each other and that we need to own up to, that we do need to stay away from. It's a new word for the day. My word for Sunday in my sermon was atrocity. Atrocious. Atrocious. My word for today is de-escalation. De-escalation. In my own life, hearing it. De-escalation. It makes you a better conversation in peace talks. It makes you a better conversational partner in talks for justice and for change. It just makes you a better partner in life. It's my prayer for you today, my friends, and I hope that the Spirit of God will find you, that you'll find yourself at home in some form or another, and that somehow that there will be a movement of others outside, inside, friends that help you to de-escalate and come out from those corners. My daughter's friend was horrified to learn that we had lost her dog. She was thrilled to learn that we were coming to her house in a police car with her dog held safe in our arms. My prayer for you today, friends and strangers alike, the world over, is that the Spirit of God will be with you, to help you to find your voice, to help you to find home, and then to find you safe home. That's my prayer. That's it. Amen. I'll see you tomorrow, my friends. Thanks for tuning in today, and see you then.